Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and I'm joined this evening by Matt and
Sam.
And we've just finished playing Pandemic: Reign of Cthulhu. This is Chuck Yager's done this one. It's an adaptation of the original Pandemic by Matt Leacock. Plays 2 to 4 players, I think. Well, you can probably play this solo if you just pick a couple of characters. The idea, if you're not familiar with Pandemic, in that one your diseases are spreading throughout the world and you're trying to save the world from disease. In this one it's the same idea, except it's Cthulhu themed, so it's based on the Lovecraftian mythos. So you're based in the 4 towns of Arkham, Innsmouth, Kingsport and Dunwich, and cultists are gathering to try and awaken the old ones, and eventually, if too many of them awaken, Cthulhu himself wakes up and you lose the game. So you're trying to run around to stop the cultists doing their bad culty things. And the way you do that is you get a few actions on your turn. So you use actions to move around. So one action moves you from one place to another. And you can spend actions to beat up the cultists and they go away, which is good. And you're trying to collect sets of cards. So at the end of each turn you draw cards and you're trying to get 5 of the same colour essentially. But the cards can be used for other things. So it can be tricky when lots of cultists are coming out. You might want to move a long way across the board, and you can spend cards to do this at certain locations, but that's obviously tricky because you want to keep the cards to collect them for sets. So there's that trade-off between trying to collect the cards and trying to move around and deal with all the cultists. Every now and then you get one of these nasty monsters that turns up, and if too many cultists come out, then it awakens another one of these old ones, which is like a ticking clock. And you're just racing, if you like, cooperatively, if I haven't made that clear, to you're sealing the gates effectively. So once you've collected enough for this, you seal the gate, and if you seal all 4 of the gates, then you win the game. Matt, thoughts?
I really like it. I like Pandemic, and this is very similar to Pandemic, but it's different enough with the 4 towns rather than individual cities in Pandemic. And the Shoggoth moving around the board makes it different enough, and obviously the old ones waking up, different enough to Pandemic to be a different game that it's worth having alongside Pandemic, and I would play either of them, both of them even the same night. So yeah, I think it's good.
Okay, great. Sam?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. I like that it's a cooperative game. Yeah, really interesting. You don't know quite what you're going to draw on the cards. You've got different actions. Yeah, really enjoy it. Recommend it as a good, fun team game.
Rating out of 10?
Ooh, 9, I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, great. And Matt?
Yep, I would give it 8 out of 10.
Okay, great. I really like the original Pandemic. The theme of trying to stop the diseases from spreading through the world is something that almost everyone can get into. So you can play it with lots of people. This theme is a little more difficult to get into. Matt was saying he'd happily have both. I'm not sure that I would personally. It is different from the original Pandemic, but it very much feels like you're playing Pandemic when you're doing it. If you prefer the Cthulhu theme, you definitely want to go for this one. But otherwise, there are a couple of extra things in this game that make it a bit fiddlier. So if you're playing with non-gamers, I would personally just want to stick with the original Pandemic. So I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. It's very solid. You know, the original Pandemic is great, so you can't really go wrong if you're basing a game on that. All right, thanks very much for watching. That was... Well, the box has gone down. It's Pandemic: Reign of Cthulhu.